Okay, you guys, so we're gonna go over a couple of games I played against TSM Andy, the owner and founder of TSM. Now, there were a couple of tweets yesterday. I think I'll try to pull those up as well from here. All right, so this was a tweet that I made. It said, caught some important people here at TSM playing competitive high-tech games. This is a picture of this is Andy, this is brother Dan, and this is I'm forgetting his name right now. Forgetting his name. Anyway, this was one of the tweets I did. I obviously played Andy shortly after this. There's also another tweet as well, which was there was another tweet as well, which was there's this other tweet right here. There's a picture actually that Lena took, which was post 2-0 chess with Radiant player at GMHikaru. And this was a picture with all the Valorant guys. This is quite a bit later. You see me here, the Chad with the sandals, and you know, I took an apple from the kitchen for dinner. So there's me. This is Sub Rosa playing here with White. This is CS Drone, I believe is his Twitch name. This is the coach. I think it's Chex if I'm not mistaken. And this is Wardell as well. I think you can see Wardell here. And so they were playing some Blitz last night. There's a lot of fun chess going on. I also was hanging out with Doublelift, met him, and there were a couple other people as well. So it's pretty cool. You guys are asking why they're ping pong balls. It's because ping pong table is right behind this. So I don't know any of them. Well, you should know Wardell here. He's standing up right here. This is Wardell and Sub Rosa for sure. They're probably the two most well known of the Valorant members of TSM, but they did win in VCT yesterday, so they have 2 more matches today as well, and I think they're going to be qualifying and playing in Berlin down the road. So really exciting stuff. But they are big fans of chess as well. So you know, a lot of good stuff going on and so forth. However, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys a couple of games that I played yesterday. So prior to these pictures, TSM Andy, he basically asked me, you know, do I want to play some chess? So we actually played a couple of games. We played 2 games. Now the games, of course, are not super long or great, but we'll go over them. We'll go over them anyway. So Andy started with D4. Now I don't know what Andy's rating is, but one thing that Andy did say to me was he did say that he had beaten somebody who was 1800 online. No, I said go to Berlin as in travel to Berlin to play competitive Valorant. I mean like they're going to learn chess and play the Berlin defense, you guys. This was IRL. We played this IRL, but the player he beat, I think was 1800 online. So D4 knight F6. Andy plays knight F3. I play D5. He goes knight C3. Not a great move, not the worst move, obviously. But again, there was a little bit of banter going on. They were wondering how quickly I could beat them. So this is why I played C5 here. Now this is not the best move in the position. It's not a bad move either, but I kind of wanted to spice things up from the very get-go. So he took. I played knight C6, and Andy goes bishop F4. Now because of what happens in the opening here with him having played knight C3, bishop F4 is not a great move. A better way to play this would be to quite simply go bishop F4, then follow it up with E3 and knight C3 afterwards, and keep it more like a traditional London. Yeah, I created the PGM from memory. Yes. So bishop F4 D4 is played. He goes knight B5, which ordinarily would be a very good move. It threatens knight C7. E5 is not a move because you have 1-2 to guard, whereas I only have 1 guarding, and you're threatening knight C7. So ordinarily this would be a very good move. Unfortunately for Andy, I had this move queen A5, which is a double attack. Puts the king in check. It also attacks the knight. If you move the knight back, I can take with the pawn. If you block with a pawn, I just eat the knight. So you're going to lose a knight at least, if not more material. So here he goes C3. I play queen takes B5. He plays pawn takes pawn, or not C4. He goes pawn takes pawn on D4 in this position. I go bishop G4. Plays E3. I was just moving instantly, more or less. I take. Goes H3 after a long think. Now one thing that I could tell with Andy is that he lacks some understanding of the fundamentals, that what you want to do really early is develop and castle the king. So for example, in a position like this, white is obviously losing your down material, but you still should try to move the bishop and get your king out of the center of the board. So he plays H3. So now I go queen to C3 check, attacking the king. Now Andy actually was about to move the knight to D2 in this game, but then as soon as he was about to move the knight, he's like, oh wait, the queen hangs. And then he was like almost about to move the queen. He realized that the rook hangs too, so he was able to pull it back and go king E2 here. And then I played bishop E6. Now I was really hoping here that he played something like rook C1, which would allow me to get this very nasty bishop C4 check And here white would have to block with the queen, and there are many ways to win, but very simply taking the queen with the bishop would be good enough, and black is winning. Instead he goes knight e5. Now I play knight e4. He plays rook c1. I go queen b2. The idea being, if you go king e1, this is simply checkmate. Knight protects the queen. It's like the throbbing mate. And if king f3, I think there probably are a couple ways to play this, but I think simply bishop d5 followed by queen takes pawn, or some kind of fork with the knight, and white's in really bad shape. So instead he plays rook c2, and now I played knight to c3 check. White cannot take the knight because then I would capture the king. So you can't really remove the knight, and there's a fork. So Andy played king e1. I took, he took, and after knight takes rook, he very simply resigned. He's like, okay, you know, let's go again. This was just a terrible game. Let's play again. It's, you know, no chance of coming back. So this is the first game that we played, and this was probably the better of the two games objectively. But I think, you know, there's some understanding, but certainly lack of understanding the basic fundamentals of developing pieces. So let's move on to the second game. This is the game I also played with black, of course, to give him some kind of quote-unquote advantage at the start of the game. So he played d4 again. I decided, you know what, let's play e5. Let's play it like an England gambit. So now he takes. I go knight c6, and here Andy played f4 again. A little bit of a lack of understanding that what you really want to do is you don't want to push your f or g pawns. You want to develop your knight, develop your bishop, and get the king out of the middle of the board. So after f4, I played d6. He takes on d6. I take with the bishop here on d6. Goes e4. Okay, now so far it's not so bad. I play queen e7, e5, bishop f5, and this is where Andy starts to really lose track. He plays g4. Very bad move. Again, one of the main things you want to do is try to develop your pieces. So for example, you'd like to move your knight out. Let's say I castle, develop your bishop, and then castle your king out of the center of the board. Instead he plays g4, and so now I go queen to h4 check. He goes king d2, and now I thought for maybe like 5 seconds here trying to figure out what the simplest way to play this was, but I decided let's get fancy and hope that he allows the really beautiful checkmate. So now I castled queenside, and now he took the bishop on f5. Now mind you, white can probably take the bishop on d6, and it's still really bad because I have queen f2 check, and if you block, I just take with the rook and win your queen. Or actually, there's even a checkmate here. King c3, queen c5 check, bishop to c4, or king b3, doesn't matter which move, and then I go queen b4 checkmate in both cases. So it would have been best to take this bishop. Instead he takes on f5 though, which gives me a really beautiful opportunity to get a checkmate, which is I play queen f2 check. And here Andy did not see king c3, which is the only move to avoid a checkmate at 1. Instead he played queen to e2, allowing bishop to b4, and that's a double check. And in fact the king has no squares. King can't go to c3, it can't go to e3 or e1 because queen guards, and also the king is in check from the rook. So all the squares the king can go to are covered, and it's game over. And that's how it ended. Now the funny thing is I also made a tweet about this later, and let me see if I can pull that up as well. Let me see if I can find that. There's let me go to my profile so I can pull up the tweets and replies. Yeah, so I made this tweet because Reggie put up this tweet. So he put up this tweet which said, at GMHikaru just checkmated me 2 times in 2 minutes. And then I tweeted my reply here of the game. Of course I remember the game, so I did this. And the funny thing is, I think when I did this, was it Reggie who replied, if I scroll down, he's like, what, how did you remember every single move? And so it wasn't just one game, it was both games. So it was pretty funny. It's pretty funny, you know, playing against him, but it was a lot of fun. How did I make the game at GIF? There's a tool that you can use to do that. So I don't know how he beat an 1800, but he did beat an 1800. So at any rate, it was a lot of fun playing against him. You know, it's all in good fun. I played against him. You know, the Valorant guys, I would say the Valorant guys are pretty serious, like Sub Rosa and CS Drone. Those guys have played quite a bit of chess. And it's kind of interesting because I think unlike the league team, all 5 of them have played online at some time. I think Hazed also plays quite a bit of chess. So the Valorant guys are it seems to be one of those games that they really do love quite a bit. The 1800 was on drugs. I doubt that. Anyway, it's yeah, it seems like 600 elo, probably a little bit higher, but again, I was actively in a sense trying to cheese him in the second game and beat him really fast. So there is that. Like, I didn't just play a normal standard opening in either game. Even the first game, like, I didn't keep it truly traditional because I played c5 and I tried to go for something that was messy at the very beginning. How do I think they were doing PogChamps? I don't know. I think they're very good though. Sub Rosa threw in his game against CS Drone, as he said on his own stream last night. But nonetheless, a lot of fun, and you know, it's been pretty cool. I would say almost every day here at TSM there are people who are playing chess when they have their breaks from League, when they aren't scrimming, or you know, Valorant for that matter. They usually are playing chess. So someone's always out playing chess in the common area. So it's really cool. Does this mate have a name? I don't think there's a name as far as I know. But yeah, anyway, those were the two games. Those were the two games that I did play against Andy. I'm sure I'll have more opportunities to play against other members of TSM, but I thought I would show you that because it was really the first time that I hung out and kind of just, you know, was chilling with all of them. I influenced them. Maybe I did. I mean, I think it's amazing that they all love chess, and so it's kind of surreal. It was just like last night, you know, I met Double Lift because he was here, and you know, he was saying he watched my stream, big fan, and just, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing to see sort of the I don't know if influence is the word, but the positive impact that I think I've had with you know, with chess and brings these people. It's like CS Drone, I was talking to him as well. He was saying that like he actually wasn't really playing much chess. He knew the game, but he started playing chess a lot after I signed with TSM. So it's in many ways it's very humbling, and it's great to know that there's so many people who love chess.